Welcome to Salaam Nerds Podcast. We do reviews and recaps of your favorite TV shows, movies, and current events.
Yo, it's the Salaam Nerds. My name is Steve, aka Watch the Beat. I'm here my boy Chad.
We drop live episodes on YouTube on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Thank you to all our supporters. Please help us by subscribing and leaving a good review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. All episodes can also be found everywhere podcasts are found.
Yo, Salaam Nerds. It's your boy Neeps, aka Watch with Neeps, and I'm here with my co-host Jeff, aka DJ Arso, Galen Arso.
Spoilers, Neebs.
Listen. Okay, guys, we were planning on doing a recap and episode on Andor season 2, but we're not going to do that because this show was so good that we have to do every episode. We got to break down every episode. We can't just go through the whole thing. So we're gonna right now we're gonna do a spoiler-free just review of the show, not give away too much, and then I think we have to go back and break down every arc, every storyline, every character, because
I think we have to do every arc, man.
Yeah, it's one of the best shows, man. It was so good. What were your thoughts about it, in general?
I like how you said it's one of the best shows because it's not just the best Star Wars show. It is one of the best shows ever made. Hands down, it was phenomenal.
Did you see my rant on Twitter about it?
No.
All right, I'm gonna read off my rant because it was a pretty good rant in my opinion. It has quite a it's a hit on Threads, 1.1k likes, so that's a lot. I said people will talk about Andor as if it's simply the best Star Wars show ever made, but that's not the whole truth. It's one of the most profound, essential pieces of television ever created. It well might be the most important. This show will endure because fascism, occupation, and oppression are not relics of the past. They return again and again, dressed in new uniforms, but driven by the same brutal logic. We're so lucky to witness such an unflinching exploration of rebellion and tyranny, of what it costs to resist and what it means to live under control and occupation. Many will realize that there are real-world atrocities in this story. That's because all systems of oppression share the same playbook. Andor is not fiction about space wizards and laser swords. It's a mirror held up to our world, and we don't even have to squint to see the reflection. The idea that tyranny requires constant effort because control is so unnatural, and freedom is spontaneous because it is natural, is one of the most quietly radical and inspirational lines ever delivered on TV. But the worst part about this show is that people will dismiss it because it's simply a Star Wars show.
Yeah.
And some people, even worse, will praise it, feel moved by it, even understand it, but then still go on supporting real-world empires and atrocities. That was my rant on Twitter.
Preach.
That was how I felt about the show.
Dude.
Oh my God.
Everything about the show is just so good. This isn't a spoiler because Rogue One has been out for 7 years now.
Yeah.
We know what's gonna happen to these people, right? And what I love about Andor is that despite knowing that the audience knows what's gonna happen, they still tell these moving stories. They still show what it's like to keep fighting, and when you have this impending doom coming, and we as an audience know that, right? The characters feel it, but we know it, and they still keep going, and they just capture that so beautifully.
The thing about a prequel is that a prequel did its job if it makes the media that came before it even better. And this show
Mhm.
makes Rogue One better.
Which is funny because
Like,
Rogue
it just
One
makes
made
it
A New
so
Hope
much better.
better. Oh my god, yes, so much better.
That's fair. That's fair. That's so good. That's such a good point. Like, I just love these. Someone said that if you really just want to see the best of Star Wars, watch Andor season 1 and 2, Rogue One, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, and just stop.
That's not a terrible thing, actually. I mean, I have a soft spot for episode
Right?
1, but yeah, not too terrible.
I feel like they mean like if you're trying to introduce it to a new audience and not have them understand the whole Jar Jar Binks of it all.
I love the Jar Jar Binks of it all, though.
I think what's going to happen is we are probably going to have to do this episode and actually break down the episode. Right now, all we can talk about is how much we loved it and how much it makes Andor better. But we're going to go and do an actual breakdown of this show.
Yeah. Even for the ones who aren't traditionally like Star Wars fans, and you don't know like, oh, where does this thing start? What's going on? Andor does something really cool where like every episode at the beginning, they'll tell you like what year it is, and it'll say like 5 BBY, 4 BBY, which is before the Battle of Yavin, and so it's like BC essentially, right? And so these are like the 5 or so years right before, and each arc is like a year apart, and it's just so well done. But the other important thing about that is that like it kind of guides you through the journey, and then you have like a sense of time. Like you're like, oh, a year has passed.
Right.
Oh, a year has passed. Nothing has really changed. Oh, it's so depressing. Another year has passed. But they do such a good job with it. Highly recommend.
Yeah, I really do think they do a good job with the whole timing of it. What? Okay. I really do think they do a good job with the timing because it's like kind of like spaces out like Andor's story because all of this is not happening all at once. It's taking its toll on him. And you really get to see who he becomes at in the beginning of Rogue One, where he's like, this is so important that I have to kill this one guy who has a broken arm. In the beginning of
Yeah.
Rogue One, you're like, whoa, Andor's did some bad things, which I kind of like because I feel like when people say that, hey, the rebellion, they were the good guy, they never did anything bad. But like, no, they had to do some bad things. Like, there's a scene in season 1 where Luthen goes, I am doomed to use the tools of my oppressor, which is such a dope line. But like, you kind of understand, like, they have to do these things in order to free them. And that's just like the whole point of season 2. Like, they're using the tools of their oppressors.
I hate that line so much right now because like if our listeners didn't know, I do a lot of political work.
Yeah.
I go and do advocacy and sometimes the dirty word lobbying, right?
Yeah.
I have to use the tools of our oppressors to get things done. It sucks. It's brutal. It eats at you. And
It does.
like, yeah, in my day job, I'm not okay with this. Like it's just horrible trying to get people to just be like, hey, be nice to people. Like for some reason that's such a hard thing to have other people understand. And when you're like advocating and lobbying for like very important issues, this line, it just hits so much harder for me specifically because of what I have to experience on a day-to-day basis. Like
But yeah, I think that's all we can talk about right now without actually spoiling anything for people. I think we have to come back, do the full episode, and just share it with everybody and just go through every arc. Because one of the things that I love about this show is they do these like 3 episodes arc, which is good and bad for us. Because number one, we couldn't catch up fast enough to do these episodes because they were coming out so fast. There's stuff going on, in our personal lives and like a lot of the stuff that we were working on. And me, I was traveling. We couldn't do all these episodes by the time I got back. And I was like, oh, cool. We'll just we'll catch up eventually. But yeah, they were just dropping 3 episodes at a time, and we couldn't catch up early enough to do this. So now, like, we're like, okay, it's over. We got to do something for it before all the hype dies down. But I think we're going to go back, and every 3 episodes, we got to make that its own episode, because one of the things that I really like about Andor is that they show it in a way where it's like doesn't feel like the Disney shows where it's like a movie cut up into pieces. Like these 3 episodes are the arc for this story. Then the new arc for that story starts, and then the new one.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I really like about it.
Yeah. And also Andor does a phenomenal job tying in like different storylines. Like even like from Star Wars Rebels, from the Clone Wars, Rogue One, obviously A New Hope, right? All these little storylines do tie in together, and it's just so well done. In fact, at the end of the 3rd arc, if you go watch Rebel season 3 episode 18 whatever, it just flows perfectly, and you're like, oh, they did that, they did it so well. And like the directors, they definitely loved Star Wars. They love every part of the Star Wars lore, and they put so much of their heart and soul into this.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, that's all we're gonna do for this episode. We're gonna come back with every single arc and just go over it and go over every character and why they're so tragic or why they're so good and how we feel about the ending. And it's gonna have spoilers, it's gonna have everything. But honestly, this is one of the best TV shows to exist, just period. It's going to be so important. I think it should be studied in classrooms. That's how good I think it is.
100%. And in fact, Neebs, I hope we can do this live. I would love to hear from other people on this, what they thought. Like, I mean, yeah, we all know everyone's gonna say it's great, right? But like some of the more layered thoughts on it, how it impacts certain groups, how it impacts their lives. I want all this commentary. Like, I want to make sure that this becomes something people listen to and are like more intrigued by it, and then they want to go learn more about the world. Like, this is just the perfect show to springboard for this.
But definitely,
if you haven't seen Andor yet, please watch it. Please come onto our lives and come talk to us. I want to hear everything.
Yeah, and I also watched Rogue One right after it, and oh my god, it's just so good right after it. It just works so well. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, guys, Salaam, nerds.